Well, if you've been waiting for answers, this is it. We get an issue-long flashback to Kataris and learn all about the dark magic infecting the land. We're going to talk about it right here in our review of Dead Kingdom Volume 2, Number 3 from Red 5 Comics. See you in 3. And welcome back to Comical Opinions. This is our review of Dead Kingdom Volume 2, Number 3 from Red 5 Comics. And in this issue, we get a issue-long flashback to the history of Alice's magical lineage and the origin of the dark elf ravaging the land with an army of the undead. But before we get into it, please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. Your attention is greatly appreciated. And make sure to stay tuned to the end for the final score. So let's talk about the credits. Dead Kingdom Volume 2, Number 3 is written and drawn and colored with the cover by Etienne, I'm going to say this, I'm going to try it, Etienne Derpentigny. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I'm doing my best here. The letters are also rendered by Jerome Gagnon. Lots of French names going on there, and please forgive me if I mispronounce it. Let's recap what happened in the previous issue. Alice and her husband were swarmed by an army of the undead when they were trying to make it to the next settlement in this time of death and destruction. And when it seemed like they were going to be swarmed by all these zombies, Alice, out of the blue, suddenly displays this form of magical power related to an amulet she's wearing around her neck. And she decimated all the zombies in one fell swoop. Everybody is shocked, and she explains, okay, I guess I have a little bit of a secret that I need to let you in on. I am a descendant of this kingdom called Kataris. And that's where the issue ends, recognizing that we're going to get into a flashback to explain what Kataris is and how it has to do with this plague of zombies ravaging the land. Now we get into the issue, and this issue is an issue. The entire issue is one flashback to Kataris, explaining who is who and what is what. Kataris is a magical kingdom millennia ago, populated by people that basically look like elves. They've got they're very pretty. Everything about them is gleaming and beautiful. They have the pointy ears, all that. Their kingdom and their technology looks very advanced, almost advanced in a sci-fi kind of way, is based on these blue crystals that only a select few people who are wise and capable can touch and manipulate. But those crystals form the basis of the technology for the entire kingdom and all their advancement and capabilities. And everything seems like a utopia. All is right with the world. However, with all the lightness must come some darkness. And we find out that there is a subset or a sect of these elves who are forever in servitude towards harvesting and mining these blue crystals. And that has created a class disparity that keeps this sect of elves in a constant state of, even slavery is the word that comes to mind. Eventually, their oppression becomes so bad that they've lost all hope, and they don't know if there's any reason to go on or continue living other than the daily drudgery of digging out the crystals for the quote-unquote good elves who live in the city of Kataris. One day, one of the elves is just overcome with rage and anger, and while he's mining, he comes across something that should never have been, or should never have been exposed, or was never meant to be in mortal hands. It's a red crystal. And when he grasps the red crystal, it imbues him with this dark energy and black power that allows him to decimate the guards and gather all his fellow slaves to him as an army. He rises up, there's a rebellion, and they wage war against the quote-unquote good elves of Kataris. Through the course of their battles, the slave rebellion is eventually put down, but before the leader can be captured with his red crystal, he impales himself on it and infuses him with the dark energy and the deadly power. And he becomes this sort of monstrous, deformed version of what he was originally. And that gives him the power to raise the dead. And now he raises up a new army and reattacks Kataris, but this time Kataris is overwhelmed because for every elf that is struck down from Kataris, the dark elf now raises that elf to join his army. So the more he kills, the bigger his army gets. It's almost like a virus, and it's unstoppable. In a last-ditch move, the remaining wise elders who are capable of manipulating the blue crystals use what little energy they have left and all the power that they have remaining and open up a portal and manage in one big blast of energy to vanquish and banish the dark elf to this alternate frozen realm and close up the portal behind them. It causes them to sacrifice all the crystal power that they have, and the kingdom is destroyed in the process, and whatever elves are left alive and remaining, they're forced to go underground or scattered to the winds, and eventually they become they merge and integrate themselves into regular human world, or they go underground and hide, and whatever weapons they have are hidden and long lost over thousands of years. And that's the story. So it's pretty big, it's pretty epic, and the way it's presented reads as such. So if you were looking for answers about what is this plague, where does it come from, who are the guys with the weird glowy eyes that are behind it all, this is the one issue that answers it all. Now there's some twists and turns. We're not going to give away too much. We're giving away a lot, but not going to give away too much. But if you're looking for answers, this is the one issue where it all pays off. What do we like about Dead Kingdom Volume number 2? Volume 2, issue number 3. Lots of great storytelling. The scope and the scale of the story feels big. A lot of those questions get answered. So if you've been confused from the beginning about what's going on, this goes a very long way towards answering all the questions, and it makes total sense. It also indirectly informs what happened with Alice in the previous issue, how she has power, and what that potentially means for her and the rest of the survivors going forward. So lots of great stuff. It all makes sense. It would have been nice if they gave the dark elf a name. There wasn't really any name that was offered, but other than that, everything else completely worked. What didn't we like about the issue? Overall, I don't think there's anything to nitpick on this. This is exactly the kind of storytelling we're looking for. It feels big, it feels epic, it makes sense, it provides a lot of the motivation for the characters we've already known since the beginning of the first issue in the first volume, and it ties it all together in a very complete and very efficient, scaled down in the sense that it was done in one issue, but even though it was a single issue, it feels big and it makes the story a lot bigger, and it makes it more interesting, and it gives you ideas about where the story could go going forward and what more stories you could tell. This isn't the end of the arc, but it goes a long way towards not only showing you where the arc is headed, but thinking about what could happen in the future, which is great. So there's really not much to nitpick with this issue. Other than the fact that they don't really give the dark elf a name, and you don't really know what his motivations are, other than now taking over the land when all of Kataris is now gone. So is that the same goal? Does he just still want to take over? You don't really get any of the motivations, but those are minor quibbles that you can look past pretty easily. Let's talk about the art. What do we think about the art? Etienne's artwork style, of course, matches the art, of course, because he's writing and drawing, which makes perfect sense. Lots of power, lots of creativity. The visuals look great. You're doing this issue more than any of the previous ones has the most fantasy elements in it, with the look and the style of the good elves, quote unquote good elves, the look and the style of the dark elves, the city or the kingdom of Kataris. They ride dragons and all kinds of large dinosaur-like creatures as part of their army. You get all kinds of fantastical weapons, all kinds of things that are happening. Visually speaking, this is magnitudes more visually engaging and interesting and imaginative than any prior issue. So both the arting and the write, this issue is really hitting on all cylinders. So final thoughts. What do we think about Dead Kingdom Volume 2, number 3 from Red 5 Comics? Great action, great storytelling, answers a lot of questions. Visually, it's the most imaginative issue in the group, and also the outcome of the story informs a lot of what happened before, what's happening now, and what happens to come. So this is really the big key issue, and it pays off in an excellent way. Therefore, we're going to give Dead Kingdom Volume 2, number 3 from Red 5 Comics a 9 out of 10. We hope you like this review. If you want to hear more, please stay tuned through the outro.